The final amounts of units you can farm between now and the Banquet event, and also by the end of the Banquet event. Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. This is going to be a really interesting video. Units! You love them, you hate them, you buy them, you farm them, depending if you're free to play or you spend it in the game, or depending if you spend once a year to grab lovely stuff from the Banquet event, which is a very real possibility and what a lot of other people are doing as well for this. I'm pretty excited for the Banquet event. It's something that I've saved up units for, and especially where I've not been targeting deals, this has been a fun kind of save up for type thing. Tomorrow we're going to be finding out more from the live stream what we're doing with the units and the format of the Banquet event. Will it change? Will it not? Will it stay the same? We don't know. We do know from in-game at the moment that we have got some Banquet tickets to trade in the Traders Outpost to get some stuff, and also in the future you can trade in additional tickets if you haven't done it already, or you may not be targeting a bundle, the Insta bundles, and just getting yourself some of the greater Banquet crystals for your trouble. I'm hopefully going to have 12. It's going to be a nice time. Hey, it's all good. Now, the remainder amount of units that you can farm is going to be quite important, because you either choose to invest that into, I don't know, the Cyber Weekend deals, which are pretty much kind of about to go, or you're going to use your units or buy more units in order to invest into the Banquet event. The amount of units you've got available, and this is the big point, the amount of units you've got available between now and the start point of the event is, well, you've got 17 days. 17 days to farm as many units as possible if you are doing so. People might be starting now, they may not be. They may be looking at what they've got dent from the Banquet event, from the Cyber Weekend, and going, well, I want to further grind for a bit of fun. The Banquet event should start on the 20th of December. How is that worked out? Well, if you take January 3rd, which as you can see, it's right there, January 3rd, you then take 2 weeks off, and that's how the Banquet event runs. It runs for 2 weeks. It's always run for 2 weeks, and it will continue to run for 2 weeks. A little bit of confirmation of that is right here. If I can get to the top. The Banquet event 2023 ran from the 20th to the 3rd last year. It did exactly the same. That, if I remember rightly, was a Wednesday to a Wednesday on a 2 week. This one is a Friday to a Friday. That's a little bit bizarre, but it's not. I'm just double checking now because I don't want to go. Yes, it was Wednesday the 20th, and it finished on Wednesday the 3rd of January. So it didn't run for 2 weeks. So you think that they're going to be they're going to keep in the same 2 weeks running of the particular event. There's going to be freebies of Greater Banquet crystals, but units are going to be important. If you are annoyed about the fact that you're going to have to farm arena for units, sorry, but maybe just do it for this little December 2 week period, or do it between now and obviously the end of the year or start of next year, the 3rd of January, because you get a good amount back. As I've said in previous videos, the extent of investment to what you get back from it is going to be important. If you want to get to the final milestones, last year it was 9,950 units. People ask me, and have asked me all the time, Rich, how many units am I going to need for this event? What do you want? Do you want to get all the milestones? Well, it's going to be over 9,950. You did get some for free, or just say it like this. It's over 9,000. It could be 11,000. It could be 12,000. Kabam have this tendency to change events left, right, and centre. So where you thought you might be spending 9k this year and getting all the milestones, well, in fact, it could be more. It could be 12, it could be 13, it could be 14, it could even be 15. So I would say have as many units as possible. Keep going until the bitter end, or the lager end. So how many units are available to farm, Rich? Good question. From today to the 20th of December, that of course is 7 days. 7 days of super daily events, which allow for easy farming of units. Over the course of a year, you're going to get 10k. But for this little time period, 510. Again, to reiterate, this is from now until the 20th, so when it's the go live. But after that, from the 21st to the 3rd, it's going to be a bit different, isn't it? Because you can still go, but people want to spend their units right there and then. Questing, if you've got anything left from this month, maybe about 30 units, you know, before the new ones go in. And then the new ones come in and you'll probably, you know, get a 600 units for your trouble if you're farming a lot, if you've got energy refills. The calendar will give 30 units between now and then. And of course, you've got a plethora of arenas. You may be able to do in like 24 hours, do 100 units, possibly, in the Summoner Trials arena. The same thing with some of the others that pop up between that particular time frame. So let's go with the working total of, and based on RNG of those opening arena crystals, of 4,700 units. It's possible. It may not be possible. It may not happen. It may happen. We're banking on you getting 1,000 units from arena crystals. That might happen. That might not happen. So what about after that? Well, if you go from what is theoretically the 21st, ignore the fact I've put the 20th of December, but it's effectively the 21st. You'll have 13 super daily events. Any questing might be left over, possibly 30 units here. Banquet event units from milestones 1,150. That figure right there is not being plucked out of nowhere. That comes from last year, 275 there, 275 there. I think from that's the alliance portion of it, and then 600 from there in the solo side of things. So there's units within there that you can get. And then from an arena perspective, farmy. Get involved. Get lots of units. Loads of Summoner Trials on offer to go and farm in. Down to the wire, possibly. Do you need to? Kind of. Fourth, and I'm going to put the totals here, like, you know, if you do featured. By the way, the Summoner Trials is based on milestone 10. Got this right last time. I think I got it wrong this time. Milestone 10 or milestone 20. It's possibly milestone 20. It's not the full. It doesn't say up to 4 mil because people do find it quite grindy in the Summoner Trials. But anyway, you look at it from a featured arena perspective. If you're able to grab that, you're able to grab that. If you can't, then you might have to take a large chunk off of what your potential capabilities are to grab units. But it's, yeah, if you've got it, you've got it. If you don't, you don't. And if you get lucky with a bit of RNG, 500 units, then you get over 4K, you know, between 21st and 3rd of January. So 21st of December and 3rd of January 2025. This will give you an altogether take home of 8,700 units. This will convert over to 29 Greater Banquet crystals, and as I've said here with the calculations, it's 81,000 points. This is just me providing you with some info and data as to an estimate of how many units you could potentially get between now and the start of the event and the start and the end of the event, because people like to spend units as soon as they get them, and of course you want to spend them early doors in the Great Banquet event to go, well, how many more points do I need or could I get? And of course, the could you get is that 4,000 right there. Just trying to remember how that all breaks down. We'll have to bring in the calculator just quickly for 4K, because again, you might be like, right, well, is it actually going to be worth it for me to farm any further units if I'm not going to make any kind of difference? So 4,000, it's not going to work out this way, but if you do 300, it's 13. So if we just say 13 times 2,700, no, 2,800, because that's nearly Richard. 2,800 because that's how much the crystal was worth last year for points. It may not work the same way. So that's an additional 36,400 points. So that's, of course, giving you an idea. Like the first lot to the start of the event will give you probably just over 40. And then the remainder, if you want to farm, will give you the additional 36,400 points. And how that breaks down to rank, well, we'll do a breakdown later on. I've already covered it this year once of how many units you're going to need. This gives you a perspective of, as of today, how much can I farm in order to take part in it. Cyber Weekend may have been and gone. You now may be low on your unit volume and looking for options as to farming it, getting something back. RNG could play a huge factor to get you more points, or give me more units, because getting 500... I know plenty of people that have picked up in the same amount for farming that arena 2,000. So you could have more. Therefore more points. Or save your units, because this is another important thing for endgame content, the Everest content, which Kabam are going to be talking about tomorrow. Anyway, that's been a video. I thank you very much for watching. Check out some other content located on the screen, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.